everybody, welcome to the Yoga by Candace YouTube channel. I had a request to do a video about stretching the quadriceps. So if you are feeling tight through your quads, we're going to do a little stretch to help kind of open them up. Let's start in a half kneeling position. So let's keep left knee on the ground, right foot will come out in front. You're looking for a 90-degree angle here. A lot of times people go a little bit too far. So 90-degree angle on this front knee, and you want your hips directly over your back knee. Take your hands to your pelvis and we'll just gently tuck it back. So posterior tilt of the pelvis, forward anterior tilt of the pelvis. And just notice what you feel, if anything, when you do this. If you're very tight through your quads, you may feel it, particularly when you send your pelvis back. We're going to hold it in this posterior tilt. And then try to get as tall as you can from like the waist up. Keep your hips right over that back knee. You don't want to send them forward. We're just going to take a breath or two here. I'll turn to the front so you can see me. And if you want a little bit more intensity, you can reach your left arm up and over and think about sending your left ribs out to the side. I also think about rotating the right side of my chest gently up towards the ceiling. Whew, that'll get you. We'll rise up. From here, let's take the front foot out a little bit more and we'll just kind of rock into it and then out of it. Into it and out of it. One more time. And we'll switch sides. So now right knee is down, left knee is out in front. It's 90 degrees in that front knee. We're going to tilt the tailbone, anterior and posterior tilt, and then pause in the posterior tilt. We'll hold that there. I'm going to turn again to the front so you can see me. So focusing on breathing, whenever you're really sore, I think it's very common for people to like wince and create more tension in their body. So just try to keep your face relaxed. If you need a little bit more, you can send your right arm over to the left. Think about sending those right ribs out to the right and twisting a little bit so the left side of the chest goes up towards the ceiling. And then rise up, and we'll take the left foot a little bit more out in front so we can glide in and out. One more time. From here, we're going to come into a seated position. So let's extend the right leg out in front. The left leg is going to bend at the knee and come up off that left hip. And then you'll reach down and take your calf muscle and just gently press it out and away. Keep your knees about hip distance and begin to lean back. Now we're all going to look different depending on how restricted you're feeling through the quads. So for some of us, this might be enough. For others of us, we might want to go back a little bit more. What's really important here is just being mindful of the left knee and making sure there isn't sharp, pinpointy sensations through the knee. If it feels like it's going to rip, your knee's not going to rip. But if you have that sensation, that's kind of a sign that it's a little too much and you might want to back out of it. And you're trying to focus the quality of the stretch through the actual muscle rather than the knee joint. So you just kind of have to play around and make it work for you. If you can go all the way down, I suggest putting kind of the top of your head down first, then rolling the shoulders back and keeping the spine off the ground. So keeping this arch in your back. This is only if you're going all the way down. Not all of us will. But this is just kind of keeps it a little bit safer. Take a couple deep breaths wherever you are. The other thing I like to think about here, you're not going to see this, but it's just a sensation that I feel. I tell myself to sort of tuck my tailbone, just like we did in that very first move that we did. Tuck your tailbone, and that can intensify the stretch a little bit more if you feel you need that intensity. All right, let's rise up. Whew. And slowly come out. And we'll take it to the other side. So again, you're lifting up off your right hip. You're moving your right calf muscle out of the way, giving yourself some space. Your knees are about hip distance. And you might notice that one side feels drastically different than the other. Like this one is tight for me. So for me, this is probably good. I could take a couple deep breaths here. And as I open up a little bit more, maybe I can go down. But you just want to be really mindful and just note that just because you can go all the way down on one side doesn't necessarily mean it's a great idea to do it on the other side, particularly if you're feeling quite stiff. So we'll just hold here, take a couple deep, slow breaths in. You can also think about tucking the tailbone a little bit or having that intention of tucking the tailbone. Great. And then rise up, slowly release. And let's just do a little bit of hip movement, like hip mobility to kind of flush it all out. So take your feet a little wider than hip distance, almost as wide as your yoga mat, but not all the way at the edges. And we'll just shift the knees side to side. The other thing that can sometimes feel really good is once you go over to one side, if the knee comes all the way down, so if this top knee goes all the way down, you can take your left foot and apply a little bit of pressure. And I'm just on the about like 3 or 4 inches just above that knee joint. So you can apply a little pressure. Again, play with the idea of tucking the tailbone here in this position. And then of course, we'll release and do the other side. And then go ahead and release. And that does it. Just a short, quick, effective little routine you can do anytime you're feeling tight through the quads. Hope that helps. And thank you so much for practicing with me.